Hey, good morning and good evening from Michael and TJ, Texas Jake, from Chicago area. And saying hello to all of you. I, I talk a lot about, or I'm on the subject of, what would you call it? LDRs in the Philippines. I had a 9 month educational uh, going on there. And I wanted to talk to you guys about it a little bit. And what I wanted to find out is that, if everyone is looking for better or for wife material, and even going as far as another country because they don't feel that maybe it's right here at home or in the United States, there's cause for that. I think that everyone wants clarity and an openness, and this LDR stuff isn't a bad idea so much if you're going to get to the point. I mean, getting to know somebody like they say over the phone is very difficult. To really get to know them, you have to go there. And I don't know if that's the part where you consummate the relationship or seal the deal or whatever. Uh, However, I think that some, and maybe some of the innocent, are under that impression, and their virtue is sold for a very little amount of money, and it seems like it's just that's all people are doing these days. Is that they're just kind of what we would call it here, hit it and quit it, and being there's so much of it there, 6 to 1, there's a lot of that going on. And then, of course, we've all been talking about the annulment process. There has to be grounds for that, and pretty steep. There's grounds for that. You have to have it. I'm doing this, for you right in the house. Like, why are you wearing shades in the house? To show you that, to illustrate a point. Also, am I hiding anything? No, I'm not. I want you to understand that. I think that's what we're doing too much of online. We're not really clear about what we want to do. And the reason why it probably worked for my brother, who ventured out into a Christian site in another country, was because she and he knew what they both wanted. And once that was confirmed, and then the meet was, a very short time. I don't believe my brother had even a 2 week vacation. But once that was solidified, as it were, and they realized, yes, to have more of this and all the time, and understanding each other's, views on things, whether they're religious views, all of that, that was done over the phone, pretty much. And I just thought I could do the same thing. I'm smart, I assumed. But the thing is that getting with the other person, when you realize, not immediately, but over time, that maybe that's not the one, it can get pretty costly if you're going through all the trouble and all the expense of that. And it was expensive for my brother as well, and her. However, they were on the same page. They both knew what they wanted, and they didn't just want it, they knew what they had to do to get it. And what that was is probably on her end. There's probably a lot of documentation, on this end documentation, and you're just kind of lining all that up. If that's your motive, if your motive is marriage and to have somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you have similar likes, then, of course, you would, build on that. But if you have poor communication, or you don't understand one another's, mind, then, you're never going to get anywhere. And if there's just all this deception that's involved in that relationship, you have to understand that when you're in an area where there's a lot of crime, I don't care if you're the sweetest person, you could be a saint of a person, but because you're in that environment, you are classed or stereotyped as the same as those that are committing crimes or lies, or stealing, or, and I know that I've heard on the YouTube that there's a lot of places, and they even warn you, pickpockets, this, that, scammers. If they had, people that were isolated that way as well when they're married, and not available really, or that they're scamming or wanting you to pay for the flip the tab, you have to understand that that's either practical or impractical. If you've got what they would say a shitload of money and you can just throw it around like that, but I think in most cases those guys aren't really looking for the prize, or the wife. They're looking to have a good time, and they got the money to go there and do that. And that's why there's all this mess, as far as this one's a good one, that one's not, or this one used to be a bar girl, but now she's looking for something a little different or better, or she wants more opportunity, if there's more here than there is there for growth, or for, something that you'd want long term. But all that considered, if you are looking for that, as we are looking for that as well, we don't want to run into the one that's trying to scam, or that doesn't really have, that's not her real objective. It's just, I need what I need today, you send it, I spend it the way I see fit, and that's never going to happen. We're just going to keep going round and round with this trouble, with this finding somebody else that is also separated. There's some very nice looking people that, under the circumstances, just like there are here, divorce happens. It happened biblically at biblical times as well. It wasn't supposed to. In other words, that wasn't the way it was initially intended. The constitution of marriage wasn't initially intended to be something that you just take and then you give it back when you don't want it anymore. We live in a society like that, and that's why it's very often that happens, or that the person is infatuated, both sides, they get together, children come out of that union, and then they split up, or decide that that's not what they want, and so I respect that the Philippine is holding tight to that one last thing that maybe you don't do there is the divorce, but it is hard on, and it's harsh on the ones that are living through that, But otherwise, if you're separated and you're inviting an American or an Australian or a Canadian to come there and commit a crime, because that's what it is in your country, whether it happens or not, you can go, well, everyone does it. What are the odds? If you're in a position to just gamble like that, that's why I've illustrated through visuals, hoping that you'll get my point, or that when you get there, if the guy's just on vacation, or if the girl's just like, well, my husband said I can do this for 6 months as long as I split the money with him. I mean, that's not better. It's unless you're just upfront about it. You just tell the guy, look, I'm married. I'm going to have to split whatever you leave me, but please leave me a lot, because I have to give half of it to him, because that's the deal. It's just, I don't know. What do you think? How do you feel about that? Now, I know you guys would say, well, we have a need, we don't got it like that. We got to do this. It's kind of messed up. It is messed up. But I think that if you really want that true guy, that true heart, good-hearted man, he's not a sucker, but he's gonna overlook all the things that, that you've, got to deal with yourself, maybe, and work with you. If you work with him and you work together, that's what marriage is. That's what a relationship is. If you want to be with the same sex, then even in that arrangement, you have to work together, or you're going to have opposing sides on both ends, But all the, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, as it's been said many times, to figure that much out. What it takes, where you would need to have a rocket scientist, personality or whatever, or brain, mindset, you would have to, that's what's happened to me. It didn't take me 9 months. I knew this a couple of times. There was a lot of red flags, and I noticed myself just being like that frog in the water. Got in when it was cool, but as the temperature gets up, you want to come out and then not go back into it. So I'm just doing this so, those that think that they know better or they can do it different, it's just this way, in my opinion. over the times that I've, just wrestled with myself about how-tos. And I used to tell this woman all the time too. I'd say, don't say how. Not no, you do say how. She'd say if. There was a lot of ifs, and I don't say no more if. It's when and how. No more if. Don't be so iffy about this. It's expensive to travel out of country. There's a lot of restrictions now. You're going to have to go through a process that's just going to be who knows how long. Understand the Philippines has put some restrictions on incoming expats or flights even. If there's no need to actually be there, then maybe we shouldn't have you here. And I'm sure that that's, that way there as it will be here, So it's going to be even more difficult. So, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. And I just want to say that you can't keep, thinking that American, Australian, Canadian, Dutch, all of those people that are, they're either looking for a good time, and that's what they come there for, and they want that brothel, mentality, and that's what they're there for, or they want a wife. Now, if the sell is the brothel, then that's what it is. This is what it costs. How about that for bottom line? You don't want to walk into a restaurant and then be told you're thinking it's this much to have this plate of food, but it's really that much. See, and that's all this figuring out stuff shouldn't be so complicated. If you want a wife, and you want a husband, you want an American husband, or you like Western men, maybe there's more adventure in that. But it's not. It's maybe not. I mean, it is what it is. This kind of communication is okay. You get to know the person, you like them, you know their status, you know their situation, you know what they require of you, and you of them. But it should that should kind of not be like on the sneak, and then once you have this bond with them, then all of this stuff just unfolds, or you figure it out. And that was my case. See, I had the opportunity, being distant, to look at things, to read things, not just what she was telling me, but what's going on, and then you just kind of put two and two together. Don't need a calculus mentality to do that. And then you see what it is. You see all these people playing on the line or whatever, talking to a Westerner, and they're parroting what somebody else is telling them to do because they want an influx of money. That's why I was using metaphors of like, just do this and this will happen. It doesn't always happen that way. It's just like us. We, play the lottery and do things like that, but no one ever takes the conscious, of reading the back of that card. And you know what it says? Your odds are really very slim. But we all have that, oh, we're going to do it. We're different. We're going to win. Some do. Not all do. And maybe I'm the one that didn't at this particular time. But I didn't go in there for the gamble. I went in there for the wife. Because it's better there, I was told. And I didn't think I was going to run into all these difficulties. But I did. And that's why I'm doing this. Because I want to prevent you from going about that. And if nothing else, the ones that are there that really want something here, then I'm just going to tell you what we expect, how we would like to have it done. And that would be just lay all your cards on the table and say, this is it. This is what I'm offering, as a wife, as a girlfriend, or whatever, and this is what it's going to require. Now, even if you don't have the money, then know how to get it. And I don't mean, and I know you have to walk there or take a cab, and you don't want to do none of that, but you can do this all day long. See, so you have to get your situation together. You have to almost say, okay, this is what it would take. What do you think? Okay, you do this for 9 months, say that all went real well for me. Then you see how much it's going to cost, and then you go, you visit, it's solidified, confirmed, yes, I want to be with you, yes, I want to be with you. You're both your past, your present, your future. You make a plan, and you execute it. And that's how you do it. There's no mystery, and if there is, then that's not the one, you know what I mean? You don't want to go through life like that, sleeping with the enemy, or you don't know who's who and what's what, or what this person's done or been through, or what kind of disease that they bring to you, whatever. You talk about it. We all stepped in some shit in our lives before, Okay, you get it off your foot and you move on, but you don't keep doing that. No one intelligent does that anyway. So no bells and whistles. This is somebody that lived through it, went through it, figured some of it out. It's not to call anybody names because this doesn't just happen there. I thought it maybe this was that was I was naive to think that, huh? It was just better there. I went for the hype and the jingle. New and improved. Better. We don't do that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But they do it here too. That's my point. I'm not picking on nobody. I'm just saying, it's not so much different there. They got palm trees and things like that and different critters running around, but it's this the deal is this is that if you're not careful these days, that's the bottom line, I guess. If you're not careful, you're gonna get hurt, and maybe they too, if they wanted something and now they realize they can't, because they're limited, or they want to use their money for other things. Their desire to have a husband in this country wasn't as extreme as they made it sound. And they're not as desperate. They're used to that. So anyway, Michael and Jake signing off. I'm not going to bore you anymore. I don't want to just make this too long. I'll do another one tomorrow. Maybe we'll do something fun. I don't know. Just see how I feel. And you guys have a good day. And I always want to tell you, pick up a book that, everyone believes in the Bible, but not everyone reads the Bible. That's always been interesting to me, And if you don't believe in it, of course, you're not going to read it. And that's okay, too, if that's the way you want it. But be good to somebody. Nothing wrong with that. Even if we're just, animal people, if that's how you want to live your life, that's fine. Just don't bite. Be nice. And if you can't be that, there's no threat to you, no threat to me. Just move on, go about your business, But if you're really looking for a wife, whether it's in the United States or you're looking for a husband, there's a way. And the way isn't through a scam. The way is through a man's heart. They say through his belly because he likes to eat, and maybe through yours as well. Figure all that out. Easier than harder. If there's an expense involved, if there's visas involved, if there's, this, and this, and you just don't have any of that, but yet you have this feeling, right? There's no sense in going there, meeting you, 2 weeks later, you consummate, seal the deal, whatever, and then the guy's got to come back and worry about what are you doing? Or you're worrying about what is he doing? That's not going to be no fun. Worry about how you're going to go from there to here if that's really what you want to do. Make a plan. But always be good to somebody and be good to yourself. Don't torture yourself with all this. I'm not going to do that. I would love to have done it the way my brother did. Meet you, we figure it out together, because that's what we're going to do the rest of our lives. Figure stuff out. Work together. Make it happen. If you have similar interests, they will be hopefully magnified. And all your dreams, if you want them to come true, they will. But you have to do it. And not do it in a corrupt way or with ill intent, or use as an excuse that it's because of my situation I do it that way, because it comes back to you somehow, some way it will. So do something nice and let that come back to you. Be a good friend. And instead of a husband, sometimes or a wife, this is what people are doing. They're getting pets. Domestic, there's benefit in that, but then it's not the same, especially if you've had it before. So if you can't get a divorce, stay single. And if the guy's, if there's grounds for an annulment, then find out what that is. It's confirmed, then solidify it. Get the process started. And don't be looking for the older guy just because he might have a little bit more than the younger. Not all cases, but in some, most, right? And then your intentions are not good. That they're all weirded out and he doesn't have any clue. Like you're just gonna mastermind that and do that just so that you can get ahead or show off to somebody else what you got. Don't come by those things by hook or crook. Meaning, don't do that. Don't hurt other people to get ahead. That ain't the way. That's the wrong way to do it. But anyway, have a good one. Talk to you again. Bye. Give a smile. Eat cheese.